Do you feel taken advantage of? Do you feel like you don't have power in your relationships and people are walking all over you like a doormat? Well, if that's happening, you're having a boundary issues. I'm Heather Hundhausen, and today is day 6 for 12 ways to love yourself, and today I'm going to be talking about boundaries. I remember when I didn't even know what a boundary was. I remember somebody introducing the concept to me and saying, well, Heather, what you need is boundaries. And I remember thinking, what is that? And as I started learning about what boundaries were, at first what I thought they were was putting a big wall up and having people respond in a way that was like, no, you don't get to have any thoughts. Everything that I say is right. That is not boundaries. Then I started realizing that having boundaries meant being able to stand in my own power, being able to communicate effectively, and be in integrity. When you don't have boundaries, what ends up happening is people take advantage of you. You feel insecure about who you are and the way that you're operating in the world. When you don't have boundaries or your boundaries are weak, you feel exhausted. You feel like you wish somebody else was taking care of you. When you don't have boundaries, you go to sleep at night wondering if your life is ever going to get better. Wondering why so many people are treating you the way that they do. So you teach people how to treat you. And one way to teach people how to treat you is with boundaries. So when you have firm boundaries in your life, the people you're in relationship with can trust you. The people that you're in relationship with respect you. They know that when they're with you, what you say you mean, you actually mean. So I remember in my life when I was not I didn't even know what boundaries were, and I definitely didn't use any boundaries. And I had relationships, I felt like the biggest victim in the universe. So if you're feeling like a great big victim, like the whole world is out to get you and you just wish somebody else would take care of you, very likely chance that your boundaries are weak. I remember talking with this amazingly powerful woman recently and explaining this to her. And she was saying, oh my gosh, so what you're telling me is these people in my life who have been abusing me in one way or another, I actually taught them how to do that with me. And I was like, yeah, you taught them. We're always teaching people how to be with us. So when I didn't have boundaries, I was exhausted. I was stressed out. I was screaming at the children. I felt like my husband didn't love me. I had no idea how to win-win communicate. I didn't know how to communicate at all, frankly, and I had no idea how to win. And what I'm trying to say is win-win negotiate, not win-win communicate. I'm merging two things together there. So learning how to win-win communicate is about boundaries. I have to know, so what happens when you're learning boundaries? How do you know how to do boundaries? Well, the most important thing, in my opinion, is knowing how to differentiate how you're feeling. If you're operating your relationships out of your own shame, the response that you're going to get from the people you're in relationship with is, I don't want to do that with you. People will back off and pull away from you. When you're operating in the energy that creates healthy boundaries and creates win-win negotiation, creates constructive feedback, constructive boundaries, a way of saying, no, I'm not okay with you doing that. And at the same time saying, yes, I want to be close to you. I want to be connected to you. There are feelings inside of your body that are guiding you to be able to know what's a yes and what's a no. And I want you to go to the link that I put. It's a training on boundaries. And I'm not going to do that in here because I've already done it. And it's about your yes meaning yes and your no meaning no, and when you're crossing people's boundaries. So if you're struggling in relationship, if you're struggling with the relationship with your husband, if you're struggling with the relationship with your parents, that definitely was one for me. If you're struggling in your relationship with your children, that definitely was one for me also. It's probably because you're not having clear boundaries. And when you're not having clear boundaries, you're not in integrity with yourself and you're not in integrity with others. And when you have clear boundaries and you are in integrity with yourself, your yes means yes, your no means no. For example, recently interacting with my ex-husband, the father of my children, when he says, "No, Heather, I can't do that," I love it. I feel safe. I feel like I can trust him. Where, we spent, 20 years of not being, I felt 20 years I wasn't able to trust this guy because before his yes wasn't a yes, his yes was a no. He would say yes to me, but he really meant no. And now he's in integrity with his word. So when he says yes, he means yes. And when he says no, he means no. And I actually feel safe being in relationship with that person. That I know I can't take advantage of him. I know that he says what he means, and it makes it clear for me how to be in relationship with him. So if you want more information about how to actually do this in your world, go ahead and click the link. It is an opt-in, and you'll get a free video training on boundaries. And it would be great because I can follow up with you and make sure that you're using your boundaries the way that you want to be. And if you have any more questions, you'll be able to contact me directly. And I really, really want to work with you on your boundaries. I did a session last night with somebody. It was very amazing. It was boundaries work. And we started with being able to differentiate out the different feelings. Because sometimes when we're trying to operate from the emotion that shows us where our boundaries are, instead we're operating from something very different. We're afraid to use our voice. We're afraid to say what we mean. We may not even know what we mean. Somewhere deep inside, you always know what you mean. But on top, you're operating out of something else. And I want to show you how to stop operating out of not who you are. I want to show you how to get back in touch with who you are inside and the things that are really important to you so that you can be creating that outside in the outside world with people that you're in relationship with. So go ahead and click the link, sign up, get the free training, enjoy it. Let me know how it's working for you. I'd really, really like to know. And today in the comments below, if you'd like to tell me how you're doing with your boundaries, what are you planning on doing today that is going to set a new boundary so that you can show people how you want them to treat you? Go ahead and put that in the comments, and we're here to support each other. Thank you for joining me for the 12 days of loving yourself, and I look forward to being with you again tomorrow. Have an awesome day.